Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, we are going to see my most favorite books of 2019. And do note that these books were not released in 2019 but they were only read by me in 2019. So let's get started with today's video. The first book that we are about to see is an Indian book written by Kevin Missel. The first book is Narasimha, written by Kevin Missel. This is the starting book of the second series by Kevin Missel called the Mahavatar trilogy. The first book is Narasimha and the second book that is to be out this year, that is 2020, is Hiranyakashyap. Now, this story deals with the avatar of Narasimha, which we all know. The first series was about Kalki, which was totally fictional. No one knows the story of Kalki, so it was totally a mythological fiction. This is a mythological retelling of the avatar of Narasimha. Now, this first book has four main characters in focus. They are Narasimha, as we know, and then Prahlad, Hiranyakashyap, and another character called Andaka, who's my favorite character throughout the book. I gave this book 4 stars and it was a very good read. It was very much fast paced compared to the Kalki trilogy, and I read this in like a day or two. If you want something that is nice to read during any part of the year, then go for Narasimha by Kevin Missel. The next book that we are about to see is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Now, this is the first published book of Brandon Sanderson. He's a high fantasy author who writes predominantly adult fantasy. It is adult because the world is so difficult to read, and at times the magic systems can be so interesting that young readers cannot focus that much on the plot. He builds the story in such a way that there is a lot of groundwork into the book, and at the ending it pays off very well. I gave this book 5 stars. If you want a review for this, I'll do it separately because there is so much to speak about Elantris. So if you like high fantasy, go for it. The next book that we are going to see is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Now, this is a historical fiction novel set in the time of World War II. It is narrated by Death himself. It is about a small girl named Liesel, and she's a book thief, and it revolves around her life for about 2 to 3 years and how it depicts the Nazi world in Germany very well. If you want a very hard-hitting historical fiction, please read The Book Thief. I gave this 5 stars as well. The next book that we are about to see is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games series. Now, the Hunger Games is set in a dystopian world, and it is a dystopian novel. It revolves around the character called Katniss Everdeen and her challenges that she faces in the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is a game which is conducted every year, and in Catching Fire, that is the second part of Hunger Games, the 75th Hunger Games takes place, and it really justifies its name, Catching Fire, because the series gets better only in the second book and it doesn't feel like a middle book at all. So if you like dystopian, go for the Hunger Games. I gave this 5 stars as well. The next book that we're going to see is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Now, Gone Girl is a psychological thriller novel and it is one of the most sought after novels in the genre. We also have a movie adaptation for this. If you want, please do watch it. It is good as well. Now, in this book, there is a couple called Amy and Nick. And on their 5th anniversary, Amy just goes missing and the story picks up from there, and it is so good. I gave this 5 stars. The book that we are going to see is the longest or biggest book that I read last year, and it is It by Stephen King. Everyone knows that It is one of the masterpieces of Stephen King. It deals with a gang of children in their present and in their future, that is when they are grown-ups. Now, it is set up in a fictional town called Derry, where every 27 years something very horrible happens and people die due to that. Now, the story ties in happenings from the 27 years which happened 2 times, once when the gang are children and once when they are grown-ups, and it is very masterfully written. If you have to try Stephen King, go for some of his shorter novels and then come for It, because it is so huge. It is like 1200 pages long and you have to have a lot of patience to read this, and if you read this, I'm sure that it is worth it. I gave this 4 stars. The next book that we are going to see is Batman Nightwalker by Murray Lou. Now, this is the second book in the DC Icons series. The series consists of 4 books. All the 4 books stand alone and they can be read separately in any order. I like this more than the other 2 books which I read because the writing is so good that it doesn't get boring at any point at all, and it is the perfect adaptation of Batman in a young adult version. and it is set up in Gotham City during a rainy or cloudy season. So if you want to read Batman Nightwalker, I'd suggest you to read it during a rainy or cloudy day because it sets up the mood very well. And we also get Joker a lot within the story. He comes as hints here and there, but those scenes which have Joker are terrifying and they are so enjoyable to read. I gave this 4 stars. If you're a DC fan or if you like reading superhero stories, go for Batman Nightwalker by Murray Lu. Next 2 books which I'm going to say, I don't own a physical copy of them, so I'll just put up the images over there. Now the first book that I'm going to say is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. Now this book deals with the story of a young girl called Xiomara. She is an African American girl and she lives in a very conventional society. Now she's very good at writing poems and her aspiration is to become a poet someday, but her family doesn't support this at all. Now it is a very hard-hitting story and it is a story of how she becomes what she wants to be after struggling a lot with her family. If you like books that are very emotionally connected to people, then you can go for The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I gave this 5 stars. Next book that we are going to see is How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh, A Guide to Conquering Life. Now, just as the name of the book suggests, it is a guide to conquer life as it is, because we know Lily Singh, we have seen all of her videos, most probably at least one of her videos, and this is just a memoir of her life until she became 30. Now it deals with very happy moments and very struggling moments as well. The one thing that she stresses throughout the book is that if you want to achieve what you want to achieve, then you have to hustle a lot and must never give up at all. Please do read How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh. It is the second best book that I read this year, and I gave it 5 stars. Last, the most favorite book of mine that I read in 2019 is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Now this is the second and final book in the Six of Crows duology, the first book being Six of Crows. Now this series deals with 6 misfits who have to work together in order to pull out this incredible heist in order to get a huge amount of money. All these 6 characters are written in a very good way and they are very expertly done. They don't feel like characters, they actually feel like real people. And the plot of the story is also not at all compromising. It is so very engaging, and I can guarantee you, if you pick up Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, after reading and ending the books, you will not feel that you have wasted the time at all. It takes up some time to get used to the world of Leigh Bardugo and her writing. Her writing is so beautiful and it can be flowery and a bit slow at times, but at the end, the plot pays off very well that you feel good for having spent that much time in reading those flowery parts of the book. Now, this is the first book, and if you cannot guess, I just gave this 5 stars. That's all for today, and if you did enjoy watching the video, do like, comment and subscribe, and also share the video. Don't forget to ring that bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. Thanks for watching.